Hi guys, it's Maddie. So today it's the 2nd of April 2024 and I'm getting set up for therapy. Got my first webinar today, which is like the prepping for therapy for higher pathway cognitive behavioural therapy. I've literally just been setting up now. Got my little poppet for support as well, and I need to set up my other device. I've got my laptop set up. I'm not going to show you the screen because obviously it's got details of stuff on it, but I've got everything set up and like downloaded, like the booklet I need for today's session, and I've got a little notepad and pen, and I'm gonna break up one of my Easter eggs to nom on during the therapy session, and I'm gonna take some painkillers because I'm getting a headache, and I'm gonna make a cup of tea because I have therapy in not very long. It's 33 minutes past 2 and my therapy webinar session starts at 3, so I need to quickly prep all the stuff for it, but hopefully it all goes well. I'm gonna make it as enjoyable as possible for me, because you know, it's a big step. It's like quite scary really. Nerve-wracking. I don't know what word you'd use for it. Also ignore the scab on my chin. I had like a 4-in-1, 5-in-1 header spot that was just all here, and it was very stuck under the skin, and it made a massive scab, and my spots tend to scab. So if you're wondering what that is, it's a scab from where I had a massive all-in-one spot. But anyways, I need to stop talking on. I need to get my Chromebook set up because they said it's beneficial to have one for like the session, the webinar session playing, and one to type into, and a little notebook in case, and I've got my little poppet in case I want to pop it during the session, and I'm gonna break up some chocolate because why not, you know, it was just Easter, why not? Yeah, but I'm gonna stop waffling on before I run out of time. I'm gonna go make myself a cup of tea, take some painkillers, break up an Easter egg, and set up my Chromebook and wait for my session to begin, and I will tell you how it went afterwards. Oh, and also I had to fill out a questionnaire 2 days ago, which I did 2 days ago. So that's done. You have to do that before the webinar or it counts as a non-attendant, and I've already done it, so I don't need to worry about that. And it's so they can track your progress and how you're doing and how you're progressing. And hopefully this all goes well. Anyways, I'm going to stop waffling on because it's 35 minutes past 2 and my webinar starts soon, but I will let you guys know how it went afterwards. Also, with the questionnaire I did 2 days ago, I found it kind of hard because my answers were really bad because I've been going through a really bad rough patch, but this is what this is for. This is what this webinar is for: coping mechanisms and preparing for my general therapy. So I'm going to stop talking now because I'm just talking through the time, and I'll talk to you guys afterwards about how it all went. Yeah. I want you guys to see the setup. I don't want you guys to see my like therapy shit. So the monkeys on the screen is just a distraction, but baby monkeys are cute as well. But I've got one laptop. Well, this is a Chromebook for like I'm gonna type my stuff on, and then I got this laptop to like watch the webinar on. I got my poppet, my pen and notebook, a napkin because obviously if I eat any chocolate and I want to wipe my hands, broken up Easter egg, a Kit Kat one, my phone's just randomly there, and a cup of tea. And I've already taken some ibuprofen. I normally take paracetamol, but we've ran out, so I took some ibuprofen because I'm getting a headache. I know that paracetamol's better for headaches, but we don't have any, so just took the nearest painkiller I could find because I want to be able to focus on this therapy thing. But yeah, that's my little setup. And now I'm going to speak to you guys after I've done the webinar because it's 10 minutes. 10 minutes until the webinar. My God. Crazy. Now, I've just finished my first webinar, week 1, for therapy. It was 1 hour and 41 minutes and 58 seconds. So just under 2 hours. Just over an hour, I guess you could also say. But mainly nearest 2 hours. It was interesting, definitely, to say the least, it was interesting. Hold on, my glasses. It was interesting. Hold on. Ignore the horrendous background. I know I need to sort through my stuff, but basically this weekly webinar, this one, week 1, the workbook didn't work. It didn't load in for me, so I couldn't type in the workbook, but I'm gonna ask someone, like a family member, to print out my workbook so I can write through it. I've got some homework that I need to do, like therapy homework, like home session stuff to do. I took, hold on, just cover the title a sec. I took notes on this piece of paper because, again, my workbook wasn't working and I wanted to write down some stuff. I'm not going to read you everything on here because, again, I'm not going to, my business, but week 1 was basically about housekeeping, introduction to CBT, rationale for using CBT and LTCs, positive stories / what has helped, and relaxation. We did about belly breathing and 4-7 breathing, which can also be 3-6 breathing, which is basically, oh my god. That's one thing I will say, is like at points of it I did miss part of it because my brothers were being very loud and disruptive and I had dogs and my brothers come in and out. Luckily it's anonymous and it's just a watch one, so I didn't disturb the actual therapy, but that is something I will note, is it's way better to go somewhere where you're just completely alone. I might see next week if I can go around my nans or something, because that was difficult. So if you have like potential interruptions and you're going to do a webinar for therapy, or any kind of therapy, maybe try and make sure you're in a place where you won't be disturbed. I was quite lucky that I wasn't too badly disturbed, but I did miss a tiny bit of stuff, like about the stages of change. I missed a whole section of that because my brothers came in the room screaming and playing and fighting, and I was like, oh. So that is something I will say to people who are going to maybe do some kind of therapy. Maybe try and make sure you are, if you can, home alone or on your own, because that was a massive disadvantage. But that wasn't to do with the therapy, that's just to do with my home life. How did I find it? Honestly, it was pretty good. I got myself prepared. I got myself a cup of tea, a snack. I made notes, and I had my 2 devices set up so I could do the sessions. One to watch it on and one to like look at the resources. So that was really helpful, having it all properly set up beforehand. The only thing that did annoy me was the workbook didn't work, but that wasn't anything to do with like, that was because it was like the way it loaded in. So I'm going to get someone to print it out for me so I can complete that. I need to do a daily activity log or a weekly activity log as part of my homework for therapy, and I need to practice the relaxation techniques like the breathing, and I need to, what was the other stuff? Like do my own little research, like especially about the stages of change, because I missed a chunk of the explanation, so I need to go back and do that. I'm going to look through the PowerPoints. I need to work on the employment support side of things. That it was nothing to do with this general therapy part, but it was mentioned to people in the webinar, hey, if you need employment support, that section, but I'm already like talking to them, so I need to do that as well. I do think I want to get myself a little notebook, because like little bits of paper are going to get lost, so I think that's something for me to do, is get a notebook specifically for the therapy and webinar stuff, so I can keep it all kind of together, and maybe get a folder, so if I do get my workbook printed out, then it's all in one like therapy folder. And I might get my assessment printed out actually, so it's all in one folder, because I have a bunch of online folders, but I couldn't, I tried to type into the workbooklet online, but it was all a mess. The images weren't loading in, it was all getting confusing, and I was like, no, I'm just going to make notes and then I will print it out and write in it, but I might try and figure out a way to also fill it out online, but that I wasn't going to like stress over because I was trying to listen. I did get quite fatigued, especially towards the end, and my attention did shift a little, but I was trying to listen the best I could. And the good thing about these webinars is they are pre-recorded, so eventually I can go back and watch the whole thing again if I wanted to, so that I also loved. There'll be an email sent out with like the template for the weekly activity log, because I was kind of like, where do I start with making one of those, but they've got you covered, so I'll be doing that soon. It was mainly like, it was the first one, so it was mainly like an introduction to it all, but it was very nice. It was a good pace. There was a Q&A section every like interval bit. They had this thing where you could type into polls, so we like all got to type in like answers, which was really good, and had like stuff answered anonymously. We had, I'm saying we because it's like a group webinar thing, like there was multiple anonymous people watching. There was like concerns and stuff voiced and answered. It was really good, honestly, it was really good. The only two cons I really had about it was, one, my workbook didn't load in properly, but that was a technical issue, not a therapy issue. That was a technical issue, like with technology. And two, background noise, which is a house issue, so again, not about their actual service. So honestly, the actual service I just listened to in the webinar was really good. And obviously it's not like, okay, I listened to 1 week of webinar, I'm suddenly all goods, you know, it's not that kind of thing, but it was nice. It was nice, it was good. And I'm going to hopefully, well, I will put in the work and do the home session stuff, because I do want to work on my coping mechanisms and understand stuff more. It was very informative, very well paced. It was good. So if anyone's wondering about, oh, maybe you have a therapy thing coming up, or a therapy webinar, or a session or something like that coming up, like a group therapy or something, and you're a bit nervous about it, honestly, this is just my experience. I'm going to state my experience, but I thought it was lovely, and there was no pressure, and because it's anonymous, no one knows it was you that said it. So if you're worried about, oh, I don't want to sound silly, it's a lot of them, the webinars, are anonymous. So yeah, and they will always say if something's going to come up as not anonymous, and anything that isn't anonymous is usually only seen by like the admin team, not the actual other people seeking the therapy resources. So yeah, before my webinar, I also organised stuff online into files, like I said, but I do want to get physical printouts as well, especially for the workbook, because the workbook didn't load in. And I do want to do that. So yeah, that was week 1 of my little therapy webinar. I have one next week. It will always be the same time of the week, which is good as well, so you can plan around it, so you're never like, oh god, when is the session going to be, because it's the same time every week, and it started right on the dot. And when it started, the person who was doing the webinar literally waited a minute to make sure everybody was on, and waited to make sure everyone's responses were in, and waited to make sure everyone was okay, and they had like a team for technical issues, except I wasn't going to interrupt the whole webinar just over a workbook, because again, I just wrote it down and I can do it, like, and also another thing is all the resources you can look back on, so I can now go away and do it in my own time, but I also got to listen to the webinar and take in, and then I can also re-listen to it, so it was very good. It was very good, especially because it's dealing with people that might have stuff like brain fog, or memory issues, or be fatigued or tired or anything like that. They really accommodated to that, which was lovely. So yeah, long story short, I had a great first experience with my therapy webinar session, and I'm looking forward to next week, and I'm going to work on these stuff towards next week and work on my own therapy stuff, and I will let you guys know what I want to know about that and how stuff's going. And to be honest, this is coming from someone that was in the, hold on, I'm going to apply the knowledge I learnt today, in the contemplative stage about therapy before, about, oh, do I want to do this, to now being in the contemplative, no, wait, pre-contemplative to now being in the contemplative / preparation stage. I think I'm more in the preparation stage because after the webinar I've got resources to set up and go about change and coping mechanisms and advice for my mental health. So yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, that's how it's going so far. Thank you guys for listening. Hopefully this helps someone, or you were just interested. Either way, I hope you enjoyed the video. Also, I have noticed an increase in subscribers and people watching my videos, so thank you very much for your kindness and support. Thank you very much for the lovely comments I've gotten. It does mean a lot. If you want to comment down below, I will read through those comments and I appreciate it. Please follow at Madalada Munden -2 on Instagram. I need to do something on that Instagram account, and I will at some point, and I need to change the name of it too because it's a mouthful, but we will get there. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I really do hope you guys have a lovely day, and hopefully I can do more therapy-based videos in the future. I was actually, as I was watching the webinar, thinking about informative educational videos I could also maybe do on here once I've also done the techniques myself and seen how I feel about them first. I'm not going to start preaching something I haven't even practiced, you know? But yeah, thank you and have a lovely day, and goodbye guys, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, felt less alone, learned something, or just found it interesting. Goodbye. One more thing that I will mention that I forgot to mention is this webinar is on anxiety and depression for long-term health conditions. So that was the main focus of what I was doing, is how mental health can affect physical health, and how physical health can affect mental health, and how having a long-term condition can affect your mental health, and how having bad mental health can affect your long-term conditions. That was the one I was doing, but there are plenty of different talk therapies for different things. But that's the one I was doing, in case you were wondering.